Greetings and happy almost new moon. So, the beauty of this new moon moment is that we get to just sit in the space of looking at everything, observing the big picture, looking at our lives through this lens of witnessing, of neutral awareness of where we are, where we've been, and the vision that we're holding for ourselves and for what is to come. We still are in this moment here. It's like a pre-birth moment. Yes, it's a new moon. Yes, it's a planting seeds moment. It's a beginning moment, but it's not quite action time, which is good because then it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, right? Where we don't necessarily have to know exactly what the whole thing is, but what we do need to know is ourselves. We need to get super clear on the energy signature we want to carry, that we want to carry with us and bring forward and bring out and give and offer and share. And we need to streamline some things. It's time to say yes to this transformational moment because it's coming, it's happening, we're in it, it's happening to everyone. We're all going through this portal, if you will, together. And it's just the beginning of a whole nother phase, a whole other cycle. It's just the beginning of an entire epoch of time for humanity. And so for our personal lives, what we can do right now is sort of sit in the eye of the storm and see how there are patterns of possibility and begin to work with the quantum realm of the divine mind, the energetic matrix of everything, the spiritual consciousness of life, and tap into this deep intentionality that we are co-creating with it. We are activating something to happen. We're activating manifestation. We're activating the possible. We're activating what is happening in our lives as it's happening in the present tense. So we're stepping out of old frameworks and paradigms of how things get done. We're stepping out of the old ways of the very rigid structural point A, point B, point C, point D. And we're stepping more into awareness of the dual nature of life, which has been happening for quite some time. The awareness of the duality, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. It's not or, it's and. It's both together. And together, it makes up a whole complete other thing by joining together these parts of ourselves. By joining together and understanding that life itself is a dual nature experience. So we're taking that understanding and now we're expanding it into this next level awareness of getting into this deep purging energy. We've been purging so much already this year. We're shedding, we're releasing, we're reintegrating, reorganizing, and all of that. And so this new moon is about this reorganization process because we're going into a kind of ego death, collectively, culturally, and individually. And in fact, many people are actually dying. Many people are leaving this realm, are moving on to the next dimension, are passing away, as it were. And why you think that is, or whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, it simply is. And those of us who are still here are going through this internal process, especially those of us who have said yes to stepping onto an evolutionary path, which is that we agree with the concept that we are ever evolving, and that if we say yes to being aware of that evolving, we can be more conscious of the evolutionary process that we're going through, and we can witness it happening, and we can be powerful co-creators of that evolutionary process by bringing through the imaginal realm, these awareness that we're connected to all the dimensions, and we can choose what vibrational, frequential, particle we want to bring through to be activated in our lives. Now, this is all very energetically, esoterically stated, but the bottom line is we can access the mechanism of the way that the universe works. We can transform ourselves in a conscious manner rather than in a victim manner, so that life doesn't have to happen to us, right? It's just happening, and we're part of it, and we're co-creating it. So there's a lot to be purged, there's a lot to be released, there's a lot to be shed. And in the midst of all that, with this new moon, we're looking at holding a space of a structural pattern of unity, of a structural pattern of integrity, of a pattern that is awakening each of our abilities to perceive, to be more clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, what's the other clairs? All the clairs, right? Claircognizant, clairsentient is the feeling. Clairvoyant is the seeing, clairaudient is the listening. Claircognizant is the knowing. And there are other clairs too. So the ability to perceive through our inner senses, in other words, through our psychic senses, to perceive other dimensions, to perceive truth, to perceive guidance, to perceive wisdom, to perceive the universe inside of ourselves, and to anchor in the energy of the higher self frequency. Because as we go into these profound, big, huge changes that are coming this year that none of us know what they're going to be, we can speculate all day long of how this is all going to go down. But one thing we are all certain of is this world is changing, and it's going to rev up. And do we have our connection with our spiritual center intact or not? That is what's going to get us through all this, so that we can remain vulnerable and flexible and open and clear, and not go into all the dramas and traumas and stories. It's the end of the world. We don't need to go into that. We don't need to do that. So let's really tune in with how we want to live intentionally, and what those values are, what those characteristics are, what those qualities of experience are. How do we want to put our energy into this life? So this Saturday, I am hosting our first Women's New Moon Circle of the year at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. I would love for you to be there, women. So please register. It's free to register. And then I just ask for a donation for an energy exchange. It's going to be a 90-minute, powerful, beautiful experience. Let's hold space together, carve out this time to really tap into that frequency and that energy and that spiritual center together. When we do it together, it brings so much strength in for all of us. Hope to see you there. Happy new moon, everyone. See you soon.